Okay, back again with another live stream. Well, second one today actually. I did a live stream of a baby bird on my front porch this morning. I went outside I took some computers out there to blow them out with the air compressor, and I heard a bird tweeting really loud. I looked around and I found a baby bird in a hanging plant on our porch under the overhang, and so I said, well, I never haven't got a chance to, make a video of something like that. So I just made a live stream of it, and it's on my channel, and it's a baby bird on the porch or whatever, but something like that. And when I looked through it and fast forwarded through it, and I found two spots where the mama bird came to feed it. Actually, I saw the mama bird right close to when I was really still getting the thing set up, and I was standing up on the bench looking over in the flower pot trying to aim the camera, and I heard a bird chirping real loud, and I looked over there, and there's a bird down on the ground chirping at me, looking at me. I thought, that's the mama bird. She wants me to get out of there, so I told her I'd leave. And I went back around through the garage and came inside and started finishing setting up the stream, and there she was. I saw her feeding that baby, and I'm pretty sure it was the same bird. I mean, I didn't get a real good look at the one that was chirping at me. Anyway, I looked them up, and later I saw her. Well, actually, I got a fairly good shot of her later on, like an hour and 32 or something minutes in or whatever. And I streamed about an hour and 45 minutes worth, and then I was done working, and it was getting too hot, and it was on 95 by then. Now it says, well, I don't know. I'm fixing to look at the temperature online, because it says it's 106 in Fort Worth on this computer, and the laptop said the same thing a minute ago. Now it says 102, but I was trying to change the time. The time is wrong, and it won't fix on that Dell Bane 8. The Dell laptop, but the Bane 8 saying it's 12:37 p.m. and it's 1:36 p.m. And I don't know, I've got other clocks around here now. I don't see any of them, but I checked the other day. I noticed it, or yesterday. So anyway, let's see what temperature it really is before I go on. I'm gonna get to work here in a minute, but I thought I would just show that. And we're supposed to we may have several days this week of 106. A couple of weeks ago we had a whole week of 102 to 104 every day. I think we had 105 one day. But let's see. I should just come right up on Google. It says it's 105 there. And it says it's going to be 105. That'd be about right, because it's been 105 or so yesterday evening. It was 105 I saw at like 8 p.m. So it says by 2, it's going to be, it's 137 now, 105. It's 105 already. 107 by 5, 109. Oh man, I think it's been a few years since we've got like 109, 110 degrees. Oh crap. I'm glad I came back in. I'm staying in now. 109 at 11 p.m. Oh, these are different days. That's expected highs. Oh, okay. I was seeing the different times, and I wasn't seeing that each day is different. So this is Thursday. The high today is expected to be 105. Friday, 107. Saturday, 109. Sunday, 109. Monday, 107. Then back down to only 101, and 102, and 101. That's the projective. Excessive heat warning. Yeah, I gathered that. So I picked one of the hottest days, but it was only 82 when I went out. But when I came in, it was 95. And making my bird videos what made me take so long. But I'm pretty tired. I'm still kind of tired. I came in, rested, ate lunch and stuff, and I got so covered in dust blowing those computers out. I was going to go straight in the shower, but I had to eat, and then I thought, well, I'm going to work on the computer some more, and if I'm going to get dirty, I'm liable to get in some more dust here. And on my desk and stuff, putting them back. So I thought, well, I'll just wait till I'm done working. So over here is the one I call the RedBlackBioStar. It's the same box as Mom's AS Rock, what I call the AS Rock, because of I name them by their motherboards usually, and by the colors and stuff. But so I've got it opened up, and that fan works fine, but it makes the most hideous noise when it spins fast. And so I'm going to turn it on. and see what it sounds like, and then see if I can find one that sounds better. And we will, I'm going to set it like that. Now you can see the fan is 12 volt tie Sol, I guess. And I thought I could read those letters, but I can't now. Might be able to. Yeah, tiesol.com. Okay. That camera is really meant to be a little closer, but in order to see that whole fan. And if you can tell, it is mounted sideways on that heatsink, crooked. And I believe that's the way it was. Either it was meant to be that way, or I don't remember ever changing that fan. Either someone before me or I changed it. I'll have to look. No, I think it's made that way. Yeah, I think there's a bracket right there. A special bracket. I guess maybe they just wanted to put a really big fan on that thing or something. I mean, it's always worked fine. That thing's never overheated or anything. And I've got let's go to just cam 2, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hard drives in there. There's a DVD, and above it is another hard drive in the this secondary. I usually always make the hard drives the primary PC, not PCI, IDE, and there's an SA. There's at least one SAT. It looks like there might be 2. I'm looking at the cables there. There might be 2 SATA drives. I'll get over there and look at them. And then there's probably 2 IDE drives, and then there's a DVD drive, and then that's the power supply up at the top in the center. That was a Dell power supply given to me by a neighbor, and it was too big to fit in the brackets in the back, and so I mounted it up there. And you know what? I think that's one reason why that thing runs nice and cool, because it's a nice big case. It has a big, 320 millimeter fan in the back, and I guess I should be over there pointing it out instead of. Yeah, let me go over there and do it that way. Okay. I'm pointing with the mouse on the screen, and that just does me some good and nobody else,
because. Sorry, I'm forgetting to mute the. Okay, so get off of this, and I will go ahead and switch to the dual view so that when I'm working there, that fan can be seen. I'll forget. Sure as heck. So, yeah, that's the view I want. Let me check my sound now. That fan can be seen. I'll forget. Okay, now, let's get over there and I'll finish. Going through the machine, and since I started all that, of course, here's the fan that's too loud, and but it does work just fine. Yeah, it's got a special mount. I don't know if it's. Oh, I see. I don't think you could. The corners of the heatsink look like they would match up with the fan, but they're what's holding the heatsink down. It's got screws, and so the fan's mounted kitty cornered. Boy, I don't know. Oh well, yeah, you can put another fan on there. You're just gonna have to get it off with a little screwdriver. Looks like. And yeah, it's a 4-pin. I thought it was. So that's why I was saving that other fan that I put in the Smiley Gateway. And I'm going to take it back off the Smiley. It runs full speed on there, and it just can't be used on there. So I'm going to put it on here. I can see what this one does over there. And otherwise, I've got to try to get... well, still don't, the fan I have on the IBM, I think it's still a little... I think it just makes a funny little noise that's irritating to me. It's either, unless it's the hard drive. I still haven't figured that out. I'll go back to that probably tomorrow or something. Well, I was wanting to do it today, but I decided to go ahead and do this. I thought, well, I got up early again. I got up yesterday early and today early, and I thought I better do it while I'm getting up early, because that doesn't usually last very long for me. That cable is laying up there on top of the video card fan. Luckily, it's not in it, but it probably just, yeah, it probably did that. Actually, if it was, it'd be dangling kind of like that if it was standing up. But anyway, yeah, there's an SATA, there's an SATA. Oh, there's 3 SATAs. And then the DVD is SATA, and the IDE is this one hard drive up here. think there's three 320s and one 1 gigabyte, so it's in there. But this power supply, doesn't have markings where you can see it. It's at least 450 watt. It might be 475 watts, and it's handling just fine. But I had to get some brackets and I had to drill some holes and stuff and make it stay, so it'd be in there good. See, some L brackets is all I used. All I needed, 1, 2, 3 L brackets. But I did drill holes. Well, there's another bigger one there to get me in place. I had to do some real work, but it actually was worth it. It's just thicker. It's just, I can kind of see it looks like it's a half to 3/4 inch deeper from top to bottom than that slot there is. And this is a big case, and that's a standard size. So that's Dell, and in their proprietary stuff, they decided to make a bigger, they decided to make a power supply that won't fit in any other box, but heck, they don't know how smart people can be. How much Southern engineering we can do, but I'm sure they could care less. But anyway, this was my main machine for years, 4 or 5 years or something. It's only the motherboard. Oh, that's a BioStar, because the motherboard got killed by lightning. Someone else's. It was a gateway computer, Intel 1.8 gigahertz with, I don't remember what it had. What do I have in there now? I think I have 2 or 3 gig of RAM in it. I think it's, I don't remember. Anyway, as you can see, I bought this motherboard brand new, and it's a BioStar, and I don't think they're even made anymore. And I wouldn't have, after having it, I wouldn't have. Actually, I've got 2 of them, an AMD and an Intel, and they both worked fine and never given any. Let's see. Well, no, now this one gave problems from day one, but I didn't. It was my main machine, and I didn't ever have another one to fall back on to take it apart and try to send it back in, so I never did. But it had noise in the audio, and I I thought it was a power supply, so I changed it out, and that didn't change anything. It didn't help. But this was I think this was a more powerful power supply than the original one. And then the original one I ended up giving to Jeff, the guy that gives me computers a lot. He needed one for an in-laws computer, and I put it in for him and everything. It helped him figure out what was wrong with it. And then the other one that was the same box and everything. I actually got this box for free because I bought a case for Mom. I bought a kit for Mom, and it was AMD dual-core AMD kit with a BioStar motherboard that came with it and all that. And the glass was cracked. Here, this is it. And I used to buy most all my computer parts from them, but they used to be really good and really take care of their customers, but they got to where they didn't seem to give a rip anymore. I quit buying from them. But that big old crack, it came like that, and also the little pieces of plastic that hold the front cover on, there was like 2 or 3 of them broke as it came. And it came in a nice big box with foam, protectors and everything, but it was messed up. So anyway, that's when they were good, and they just said, we'll send you another one, don't bother to send this one back. And so I built my machine into this, because I like the boxes. They have red lights, look like landing strips on the front. You may have seen them in other videos. And the power and reset lights are blue. They're a little bright, but and they've had them for years, and they haven't gone out or anything. Now the main power switch went out on Mom's, and she hardly ever used the machine compared to me, and I replaced it. But let's see if I can. Let's plug it in and see how loud it is before I'm not going to plug it into the monitor or anything. I really didn't think to. You have to reach in there like that when the cover's shut, but it's not too hard to do to plug it up. But this is Fedora 14. That's the main. There's let's see. I've got Fedora 14 on one drive, and an OpenSUSE remix that I made on one of them, which I never really used. And then one of the other drives has Artist X on it, an old version, which I hardly ever used, but I thought I might when I put them on there, But and then the rest is all backup, really. And this one, I'm not sure. That one might be the one with Artist X. I always wanted to back up all my files to a big. That's when I bought my big 4.5 terabyte. They call it 5 terabyte backup drive. I was going to copy all this, personal files to it, and then I could disperse these drives out to other machines, you know, and reformat them and stuff. But I realized I was going to fill my drive up in no time with all that, so I didn't do it. I could still have enough room I could do it, but it would really, it's got 2 terabytes on it now just about, and so there's 3, no, if there's 2, 3, 4, there's 2 terabytes left, I guess. Well, 2.5, that's right, it's 4.5 terabytes. So. Anyway, yeah, let me turn it on. I'll just kind of wait till it seems like it's booted up before I shut it down. I'll try not to shut it down in the middle of the boot. But let's see, I'm on the wireless, right? So, I was trying to think if I have a way to tell. Well, I guess I couldn't now, that'd be too delayed. I was thinking about listening to my stream to see, seeing what that other card is. It has a, oh, that's a video card. This card here is a input card for, this is out of another system, and I put it in here thinking I would use it. It's pretty cool. This system, that one of the ones Jeff gave me, these are all BNC, therefore that it goes to that card. It's a surveillance. It's for surveillance cameras, for forgot what you call those type of cameras now. But anyway, it has BNC connectors, and I don't have any of those cameras either. You can't. But I put it in there thinking I might. Well, actually, you could get adapters, and you could plug in an RF cable, and you could plug in a VCR or something like that to it, and you could plug in that many, you know. And actually, I don't know. It depends on how much memory it has in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I doubt you could plug in 4 VCRs at 720p and handle it. But anyway, you could plug in a couple. You could use it to input VCR. Or DVD, you know, as long as it's over an RF cable. Of course, that wouldn't be full, even the full 720p over the RF, but well, it might be. I can't remember. And then I always thought I might could do that to edit stuff. And I also thought maybe one day I might get some of those cameras, but of course they're old and outdated now. But they'd be good fun for surveillance. But I'm just talking and talking. All right, so let's start them up. And that fan, I love that big fan. Once the first time her kit came with this big fan. And actually one of them did go out and I had to buy another one, probably this one. I mean, this is probably the newest one. But the one I got my fingers on, not the one you can see in the close-up. But now, let me get my mic and put it down that way. You can kind of hear that whine right now. And that right there, it's really loud when that thing starts working. And that one back there, you can probably even tell, you can barely hear that thing, and it moves a lot. It doesn't have to blow so expensive fast. It doesn't have to spin really fast and blow really hard. It just moves a big volume of air. So with this big hole, I realized that when I had to do this, I realized that's where they ought to be in the first place, because have your vent back here. Of course, you really should have a grate over it or something, but to keep bugs. And actually, one of the computers Jeff gave me, a rat had got in. He had one that was open in the back. He had just left something out of the back, like several of these covers, you know, where PCI slots go. And it had crawled in there and chewed the wires in two coming from the power supply. And they had a fire in that house, and I really decided, I was thinking about it again not too long ago if it was a riot or not, but I think that's what started the fire. They never did know what started the fire. I think it caused a short. Of course, this is only in the 12 volt, and that's what he chewed on. But it could have, it doesn't make sense, but he could have chewed on other wires. Maybe that didn't cause the fire, because if he did short out, he was dead in there. So he either died in the smoke of the fire or he got shocked but he was chewing on 12 volt wires, so that shouldn't kill a rat. But he was dead in there. Big old rat, man. Anyway, no, I didn't use that computer. I didn't throw it away because it had good hardware in it. I took some of the hardware out of it. It had some cool. It had SCSI hard drives. It ran once it patched up the cables and got the red out. But it was old, like it was just like wasn't a 386, but it was like, I don't remember, 200 or 300 megahertz or something, Pentium. So anyway, that noise is, you know, you don't hear it so bad when it's just running at an idle. When it starts working, it just sounds horrible. And it had originally a megaphone on it. Where is that other box? Oh, here it is. Let me get over here and get it. It originally had this. It sits right down in there and snaps into that fan. And that made it 3 times louder, that noise that it makes. So I took it off. Actually, I had messed around with the original case for quite a while. I think I took it off before. And while I'm thinking about it, this was in one of the Dell boxes, the one that got struck by lightning. Now, if this one, it wouldn't even fit in this machine. But if it would fit close enough to just use the back or the IBM, either one, the IBM or the. That's the other thing I'm going to check into, because I got to thinking, well, I remembered that, and I thought, you know, nothing wrong with that design, really. I don't know. Well, I got an oil can in here that I'm about to lose, and make a mess with. Okay. So all I really, okay, I'm sure that's booted up by now. Oh, don't tell me. You know, Mom's, I think that, you know, I've been thinking that it was that power CPU fan. Guess what's making noise? I just realized it. That's the video card. The surveillance video card doesn't have a fan, but this is an NVIDIA 512 megabyte, I think. That's what's making that noise. That's what's making that. I bet you, well, you know what? I have 2 more brand new fans that I bet you would fit that. That one there. Now, unless I plug it in to the monitor and everything, I mean, I can, but I have to move my whole. I don't think I can get to the. I need it out on the table like that to be able to, you know, work on it and see what's going on. But my cables won't. Well, these cables I don't think will reach. They might. I've got the cables for it laying up here, you know, on my desk. Problem is they seem to be tangled around other cables. Well, I'd have to turn it off. I'd have to turn the machine off. It won't show up. Well, it might. Some machines you can just plug in the cables and the video starts working, and some don't. But let's turn it off now. I am certain that that video card is making noise, so I can take the video card out. It has onboard video. I was thinking I would like to leave it just like it is, make it work hard, and to do that I'm going to need to be able to see, you know, get the video hooked up and open up some kind of programs that'll make it work hard. Okay, so yeah, this move my preview back out of the way so that it's not, I'm not going to run into it. Let's see what I can do here. What happens if I... Yeah. I'll put a camera down there where you can just see what I'm doing instead of me just, you know, being off camera. Okay, so here's what I've got. That's my KVM switch. You've never seen that, probably. I've got this, there's the front of it. And the cables come out of the back there and go to each computer, 4 ports. That's actually a power. You can give more power, give 5 volts. Beef up the, well, yeah, just say beef up the USB. Otherwise, it just relies on the power coming through from the computer, which for some devices is not enough. But I unplugged it. I had it plugged in for years, and then I unplugged it and left it there so I wouldn't forget it. I kind of lost it for a long time. So I put it there so that I wouldn't forget it again. Got to put it somewhere else right now. But anyway, I thought it was making noise in my audio, but I think I figured out it wasn't the culprit after all. Later on, I got rid of that noise. I know that. I think what it was is simply when I first built my power supply amps with 2 computer power supplies and 2 car audio amps in the old Dell box, the one that got hit by lightning. The motherboard's ruined. When I first had that up, I had those things wired in series to get 24 volts. And trying to figure out what's going where. And you have to ground lift one of them to do that. Well, that caused, I'm going to use these twisty thing here to, don't lose that. Try not to lose cables off back in the dust bowl back here. And trying to pull them through without tearing it. I knew there was hung on something. It's a, there we go. Where does it go to? It wasn't really wrapped around it. It was just kind of laying on it. Oh, that little bitty white cable. I don't know if you can see any of this, but the little bitty white cable is that one there. It goes to my indoor-outdoor sensor for my thermometer. Okay, now if this will reach, now this computer, I actually run, it has a DVI output on the video card, and that's what I use. Oh yeah, so I won't be able to use the onboard. And I could, that one that's plugged into Mom's computer could reach, but I would really have to move some stuff around to get to that. This reaches. I'm doing it now, so can't see which way it goes, but oh, it probably does go the other way. I can kind of guess by the way that cable's bent. Only problem is stuff in the way. My little tripod. There we go. Now, let me go ahead and get this one. It has a VGA, but the VGA is actually bad. Well, it might work good enough just to do this, though. I think it's not bad, but it's got a bad connection. You know, you wiggle it one way, it works. You wiggle it another way, and it doesn't. There we go. I haven't had this to where I could get to this switch in years. Pretty different. It reaches further than the way it's routed the other way. Okay, so I'll put in the USB. I won't plug in the VGA, but I may try it in a little bit. Yeah, all the pins are there and not broke on this one. Looks like one of them's bent, though. Yeah, it might be pretty well just about broke. Okay, so, but I'll leave it disconnected. Now we want to switch back. I guess I'll put my camera back up here. Oh, I forgot that's the only camera on view. All right, And yeah, there we go. So all I did, see, you could have shown that if I'd have thought. I plugged them in back here and here. So now when I turn it on, I can switch on my KVM switch and actually see what's going on. But what I'm not gonna show what's going on the desktop. I'll just, because the whole point is I'm just gonna open up, I don't know if I have a benchmarking tool on there or what, something to make it work. Let it play a video. There's no speakers or anything plugged into it. I could do that. Turn it on YouTube. That open up the browser. And this is Fedora 14, so just opening up the browser will work it real hard. Okay, let's see. Are we still working? Yeah. Oh, something went wrong. My web browser went back to just google.com. Let's see. On my laptop that I use to check my stream. So let's make sure everything works before I get off of this machine that I am not able to do anything. I guess since I'm doing 2 cameras, I should actually get off of that scene anyway. It seems to help. Oh, I don't need that Crusader opened up. Okay. Now let me see if I can hear my...
Should actually get off of that.
Yeah, I think I've been doing it on the AS Rock and it really makes quite a bit of difference. So now my mic's in the way. I moved my KVM switch. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea. I moved it further up. There we go, closer. Yeah, it was too close. I had slipped further back. Which one is it? Oh, it's number 3. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to turn it on. It's so delayed, I still don't see the machine spinning, the fan spinning or anything yet. But
so delayed, I still don't see the machine.
Okay, so I don't see video. Oh, right, I have to switch to the DVI input. Always forget that when I'm not used to doing it. That used to be my main machine, and I left it that way all the time, and then I had to remember to switch every time I went to any other machine. So yeah, Fedora 14 still runs great. This is really my favorite Linux version of Linux, year of Linux that I've ever had. There was the most applications available, worked well. You didn't run into too many at all that had bugs. So many graphic user interfaces to do everything. You just hardly ever had to go muck around in the command line to try to get stuff going. You just a matter of remembering or finding the graphic app and clicking or typing or whatever you needed to do. And I have Apache web server on here and some dynamic websites that I was playing with, and I never did end up getting them. Well, I didn't really have any, I didn't find exactly what I wanted. Well, the thing is keeping them updated and secure was the thing I was worried about. So I never did put any on my actual server. I never did use this as a server. I could. Well, I think I used it as a backup server a couple of times. But it always made me nervous, opening up my main machine with all my personal files to the internet. So hardly ever did it. Only when I was just, down and didn't have anything else to use. But before all this is done, I think I'm going to set up another backup server besides that one out in the garage. One that's in here. But that'll be, I'm going to make myself remember, do that kind of stuff last, do the most important stuff first. Okay, so I've got it in Fedora 14. And I'll open up the system monitor so I can tell what's going on with that. Oh, I can't go online. I don't have it plugged into the Ethernet. I mean, I could plug it in. I was thinking about opening the web browser. But before I do that, let's see if it has anything that's like a benchmarking. I don't think I have a benchmarking app on here. That would make it work plenty hard. It won't last as long, but if I just start a video and let it play, let's put it on YouTube and let it just start playing every video in a row, it won't quit until I'm done done with it. Well, it's working right now. It's actually pretty slow because it's indexing the search, the desktop search. I forgot what it's called. It's a real good search, but it does use quite a bit of resources. I don't see anything that says bench on there. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have a camera aiming at the monitor right now, so I can't actually show it. I could do remote desktop. I guess I ought to do that. What's this thing's IP? Oh, I think I know. Oh, well, it's not plugged in. I have to. Yeah, unless that cable won't reach the one that it normally plugs into, so that I won't be able to get to it. Okay, so I'll just have to just talk about it. Let's see. I was thinking you'd be able to hear those fans, but you can't because I don't have the mic over there. Okay. I kind of wish I was on desktop now. Ah, here we go. System Profiler Benchmark. That's the app, the one that's on Party Magic. That's what it's called. It's hard info. Fedora 14, you can install it. I think I've looked and not been able to find it in Core 2, 1.8 gigahertz. And where's the RAM in this thing? Total memory 30960. 4 gig? Didn't remember that. I might have added memory to it sometime. Total memory 3096040 kilobytes. So I don't know if that's 3 gigabytes. Yeah, I think that's 3 gigabytes. Why don't you give it in human readable format, please? Well, anyway, what I want to do is generate a report. I've showed this in several other videos, like when I was using Party Magic, and that will make it go work hard. Yeah, I've got some right there. Hard info. I'll just copy that one to save time and rename it. Hard info report, Party Magic. I mean, Fedora 14. RedBlackBioStar. Let's put the date. 07/19/18. Just remind me, do not, when it asks you at the end, do you want to open this report? Don't do that. It locks up every machine I've ever tried doing it on. I don't know why. But you can open it up later after you already have, just go to the HTML file and open it up in the browser just fine. Okay, now it's still working on getting started. No, it's running in Queens benchmark right now. I'm seeing I can see all the words, but they're like not grayed out, but the screen's kind of white. It's like it has a white sheen over it. Running FTP benchmark. Okay, so let's get over here. I guess I'll have to stand up. So I think that the CPU fan is not the culprit. I think it's the I've got my head in the way probably with the camera. I think it may be the video card frame. And if it's close enough to the right size, It's a fan, isn't it? I'm not looking. I'm scared of it since I got cut up on the other one. Yeah, it's a fan. Mom's started making horrible noise and was going on. I bought 3 in a pack for $2.80-something that would fit that one. I mean, I kept the case and just replaced the fan. That it's not making all kinds of noise like it usually does. Well, when that test gets through, it's through. Okay, I'm gonna have to try opening up the web browser then. So I'll plug in this other. It's on a different router, so I can't. Let me see. I just said it wouldn't reach, but I didn't actually try it. I just don't see it reaching. Let me try it and see. Oh yeah, it barely reaches to that machine. Okay, so I'll have to use this other one that's on a different router, so doing a remote desktop would be really hard. I already have the routers forwarded, so if I type in the right IP address, it goes straight to the machine. But forwarding the routers makes you have to think real hard. I'm already kind of tired, so I'm not going to put everybody through that. Put me and you and everybody through that. Ran into my camera. Okay, let's see if this will even stay in there. There. There we go. Now we've got networking, or we will in a minute. Okay, now my object wasn't to go over the I guess I can grab this other camera and do that. I'll have to unplug it. Oh, I know what I can probably do. Did this the other day. Might work. I set it on the keyboard. Actually, it won't get the whole monitor, but it might get enough of it. I'll go ahead and switch over. Okay. Oh, I was like, why can't I see? I thought my mouse wasn't working for a minute, but it was because I was still looking at the, it wasn't dawned on me I wasn't even looking at the right screen yet. Well, it's not working. I have to get to, I'll get on my server. There we go. Good old KVM switch, but it's cranky in its old age, just like me. It's a little cranky. Okay, now we got a mouse. Okay, so we'll go to camera 1, which at the present, oh, okay. For a minute there I thought we were in trouble. Yeah, it's so close. Okay, and there we go. It had got out of the camera view and was asleep, and I was like, where's my preview? Thought the camera was turned off. Actually, I might have, yeah, I got a cable that'll reach. I can plug it in, because it'll go down pretty quick, and what'll happen is it'll drop a lot of frames when they're not plugged in too. Okay, so I'm really close, not getting the whole monitor, but I think it'll probably be enough to, I'm switching. Yeah, and the switch has been used so much on the monitor itself to switch between DVI and VGA. See, there we go. That's the center of that monitor. Okay, so no, don't open that test in the browser. And there's the benchmark app. Of course, there's nothing in the summary we got here. We'll step here on that corner for now. Okay, so yeah, it's a Dual core, 1.8 gigahertz. And this one doesn't actually, operating system, Fedora 14. Kernel modules, that tells you all the kernel modules that are in the machine. So yeah, there's a lot to every system then. I didn't really remember VirtualBox. Okay, whole lot, yeah. So that's just a part of how things work. I only run into them when it tells you, oh, you got to install so-and-so kernel module, you know. But what I did was just click generate a report. I've showed this in Party Magic quite a few times, but this is the app. It's a real nice one. It's the best one other than that. Phoronix maybe would be better if I figure out how to get it all working. But so far, I keep running into things, dependencies that don't download and stuff. And I think it might be because I haven't run it on. I'm running it on an older system, I think. This is hard info. This is an old version, I'm sure, 0.5.1, because it was installed. It was in the Fedora repos back in Fedora 14. I'm pretty sure. But it does CPU blowfish, and on the bottom left, crypto hash, Fibonacci in queen, CPU in queens, FPU FFT, and ray tracing. It didn't take long to do do it. I thought after it was done it would show you the information. Guess not. Anyway, I'm going to close it now and get to I can't bring it, if it won't be setting, it would be sitting like in my lap and just bobbling every time I moved if I try to go any further back. I got my keyboard tray out as far as it'll go. I'd much rather have it, you see, if I could have a camera setting this, well, not quite this close, but I could try it, but I don't think it's going to be a good idea. Let's see. Tried this before. Where is the monitor at? Okay, I think that's the whole monitor. It's more than the whole monitor, I think. This may be better, though, than what I've been doing, trying to, because I can't tell what's showing and what's not. If I'm kind of try to hold still, maybe it'll be all right. All right, now. Open up the web browser, and I'll just leave the, it's still indexing, the tracker search tool, that's what it is. But usually when you open up Firefox, that's when it works hard enough to, you can really hear it making noise. And it starts making that noise, I'll get over there at it. And turn the cameras on over there and see if we can figure this out. It is really tricky to figure out which fan is making your noise. Every machine that does that, I end up going around and around and around trying to figure it out. Really all you can do is process of elimination. You're really just going to have to, usually when you try to restore the last session, it usually doesn't work, so I'm just going to say close it. Let it go to the home page and then go wherever. I may go to YouTube, but yeah, I think I'll go to YouTube. Not gonna, let's see, can I sign in? I don't mind signing in. I can find my own stuff better that way. Yeah, it's already saved in there. I don't know why it. Okay, YouTube. I don't think the whole monitor is being seen, is it? Oh, it just wasn't very centered. See, now I'm really probably a little, well, I mean, it looks to me like, best I can tell. Oh, okay, I'm looking at my preview, I can tell a little better, yeah. At least you can see the whole monitor. I just now see me moving it. Okay, so yeah, I'm a little further back than I'd like to be, but it's kind of my only two places, either way too close or too far back. Notifications. Actually, I started using that on YouTube. It's okay. Now it's just not really responding. Actually, it's not even displaying the whole page. This browser's just too old now. I have it set up on the standalone mode where it was automatically getting updated until 2 or 3 years ago now, and it just quit. You know, they quit supporting it altogether from Fedora 14. Firefox did. It's just hanging up. I don't know if I'll be able to go to YouTube. I'll try and hit. It's probably going to come up with, there's a script. Yeah, it says waiting for YT3 so-and-so, so-and-so. It'll probably come up with a script error. So I may not be able to do that after all. I'm kind of thinking if I wouldn't have logged in, it might have been okay now. I don't know. Let's see. If that makes it work hard, that was my goal. The whole thing is not, I can't even go over to the system deal. Mouse moves, but it's just hung up with too much to do. So I'll click over there on system resources, and maybe in a little bit it will actually switch. Now, I'm gonna have to I had the leg of the tripod sitting on a key on the keyboard. Okay, so I'm gonna get back over there and switch to the cameras that are at the. It gets tricky here. Too many different things to do. Okay. Yeah, now I'll go over there and we'll stick the mic on it and everything. I ran into the I better put this camera back in its normal place. I'll turn it over, hit the keyboard keys, and I'll tell them what I'll end up doing with it. I got to try to keep them plugged in because they won't work right. They'll start running down real fast. Okay, let's see. I guess it just kind of bent a little bit. Okay, let's listen. I think it's just a whir of air in that area. And down here in the back, same thing. I think those are actually quiet fans. So all this time I thought that was a bad fan. But that is loud. That is my noise. Yeah. If I get my head out of there, well, I have to stick my head in where I can hear it, but that's what I'm talking about, the CPU fan. I mean, the GPU fan. The CPU fan, I think it's okay. So maybe I don't need to change it. And then the big fan, that one I think is the one I replaced. I don't know if his mom's or mine, but I think it was mine. Because I ran mine all day, every day for years. Still in the house. Anytime I see any dust, or think there even might be dust on my little microphone cover, I always want to blow it off. But when it's live, that's bad. It gets loud. Okay, so yeah, there's the GPU. Right there. That's the edge of it. So I'm going to shut him down again. But I guess I'll go over here and see if I won't hard shut it down unless I have to, because I like that operating system. I don't want to. You can cause them trouble. You can cause them to, you know, miss some write files they're trying to write, and then usually when you boot it up, it'll fix itself, but not every time. I want to see if it came back to its senses and I can use it or not. But I think I won't fiddle around with getting that other camera down again. No, it's still, I actually am going to have to hard shut it down. it is froze up. I mean, the mouse is working, but that's all that's working.
No, it's still, I actually.
Okay, so I just don't have a choice here. Let me go ahead and switch back. Well, let's go ahead and watch it shut down, and then I'll move my switch back. Oh, well, that made the do what do you want to do, you know, so I'll say shut down. That should work, and hasn't worked right away though. The shutdown usually will tell everything to go ahead and quit, you know, unless it's just really locked up. Yeah, I don't try to use the web browser very seldom. Now I know I really can't. Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh, it's gonna automatically shut down in 16:15. Oh, it wasn't taking my click, so it's gonna shut down. Let it count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Shutdown. Firefox is, yes, we knew that, not responding. I would have killed it with the system monitor, but my mouse is not doing anything. Oh, let's try the keyboard. It's selected on, well, let's make sure. No, mouse or keyboard aren't responding. Well, then I'm going to hard shut it down. Gotta make sure I'm getting the right button. They're almost both the same size. If you hold in the reset button, it really makes it go nuts. Don't ask me how I know that. Okay. Doesn't like it. Okay, this is not what I expected, but I kept feeling like I ought to go ahead and do that. I mean, I really would use the number one reason I don't use this machine, I don't need the browser, but there's a lot of good apps on there. Sometimes I think I can just jump over there and get them, use them, instead of trying to find them and install them and all that stuff. And I don't sometimes because of the noise it makes, the bad noise it makes. I'm going to plug in this VGA and see if it will work. See if I can get it, at least get it to work with this card out so I can see what it sounds like. Make sure I'm right, you know, about all this. Okay. Cable kind of draped over. This one here. There's a, what is that? Oh, it's a modem. We got video card, modem, and another video card, input video card. I have a TV tuner video card that I bought years ago that still works fine, but it won't work in the newer versions of Fedora. So I have it in my old Pentium 4 that I think it'll work in Fedora 14 though. I had it in here, I think. I don't remember now. I need a bottle. I guess I'll grab this one. Something to put a screw in. Now, get you out of there. Does it have a clip on it? No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, maybe it does. Yeah, it does. You have to mash down or pull up on that clip. And it's covered up by the card itself, the place where you're supposed to get a hold of it. Ow! And don't put your finger up under there and try to lift up on the card. There's something that gets you. That hurt. That was sharp. I got the screw all the way out. See if I can't get it to there. I think the clip clipped it again. Had it loose. There. I'm trying to watch out for these cables too. That's audio or something. It's not really, I guess it's routed in the best way to keep it away from fans, but not to get that in and out. Yeah, see that big old clip there? That's the way they used to all be. This is an AGP video card. So there's the fan that I think is making noise. That looks a lot like the one I replaced, size and all, so maybe maybe one of my new fans will fit in there. First, let's, oh, it's got screws on the back. That is for the fan, so I don't know if I need to take those off or unsnap the front or what. I'm looking at that preview myself to try to figure that stuff out. Okay, but I'm going to turn it on again first and see. We're going to just go back to the fan since that's gone now. Now, let's go back to the other machine, back to it. Actually, this is the only machine that I can boot without the KVM switch being on it because it's using the DVI. And it won't mess up the video because the DVI is always connected to the monitor and it'll see the monitor. Well, at this point it wouldn't though, that's right. Oh yeah, it's all pink. And if you wiggle that cable, it'll start being the right colors sometimes. Yeah, it's just got a broken cable inside. Oh, come on, you're black. Oh yeah, you can't see that. Sometimes you can twist it. I think it got to where it just wouldn't do that anymore because I used to keep it like twisted just so. And it would work. Well, it doesn't matter what color it is. I'm not actually using it. It's also not getting the right resolution. But oh, let's just watch and listen and see. It's already quieter. I hear hard drives rattling, but I don't hear. I don't think there's a thing wrong with that CPU fan. Okay, now here's the CPU fan. One of the hard drives are rattling. Not sure which one. Just, you know, they just do that when they're being read a lot, especially when they're older. That's the back fan. I can't hear the fan. All I can hear is hear and feel air. This one, well, when I put my ear down in this area, I guess I kind of hear the stereo hum of those two fans. Well, that's a surprise, but it's actually okay because I have to. Yeah, I don't know which one. Probably the one that's booting Fedora 14 is the one that's rattling, I would think. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log in and do something to make it work hard again, just to make sure. It looks like this is going to be another fan to take apart. The resolution is way off. It's because of that bad cable. Well, that big fan really does move the air. I like that fan. So while it's booting up, I'm going to look. I think I will have to take those screws out of that fan. It's spring mounted. That's actually, I was gonna say, I think I'll start that benchmark app again because of Firefox locked it up. I'm dropping everything everywhere. Oh, that's that cable. Power cable for the phone. Okay, I'm gonna find the benchmarking app again and just, it's not gonna mean anything, but I'll just run it. First I'm gonna open up System Monitor. Let's see, well, oh, it was hard info, wasn't it? I think I found it by typing in system though. It takes a long time to, well, while I'm waiting, I'll show you the screen. It might be something you've never seen before. Have to switch everything again, but that's all right. Come on, there we go. Oh, we were already on VGA. Right? What did I do? Go the wrong way? Yeah, I sure did. There. I was messing around with the monitor trying to switch it because it's what I always have to do, but I didn't actually need to do that because I'm not using the DVI at all right now. It's not plugged in. Yeah, when you unplug the phones, they tend to want to go to sleep right away. Okay, so camera 1, switch back to the RedBlackBioStar now. You ever seen such a pretty and pink screen? I guess it looks pink to you. It certainly does to me. Purpley pink. But that's what it looks like. Guess I can try to get the whole monitor while I'm here. Okay, hard info didn't even show up in my app desktop search. Huh. Is it locking up? I think it's locking up again. I thought it locked up because I opened up. There it is. I was just trying to go too fast. My cable, my power cable is getting really in my way. There, maybe that'll help. When I'm plugging into the monitor. I guess it's because it's working so hard. I guess I'm working it too hard. Yeah, it never does run good anymore with that search thing doing its scan. You can't hardly, it'll just, especially when it's just like first booted up. It's, oh, it already did the search. It's so pink I can't see, I can't even read it hardly. There it is, System Profiler, but it's called System Profiler and Benchmark. So that's why it doesn't show up as hard info, but the actual name of the app is hard info. How could you try to make it just a little harder? That's not hard enough to figure out. I mean, I can remember that name, hard info. I learned that name, but you can't search it on your desktop to find the app, and you can't. Now, I guess if you do the opposite, you remember System Profiler or what it says at the top, system information, and you start trying to find. That's why there you go, 3 different names for the same app. That's why I never can find it in the repos. It may be in the new repos. All right, so I'm going to click Generate a Report, and it's already selected all, but I always hit Select All to make sure that it really is selecting all, and then that'll make it. I want to do that again. Let's see. See, how am I going to do this? to using onboard video chip. I'm just going to say that. Okay, now I'm going to let that run. And it gets done pretty quick, so let's see if I can get, can't reach anything the way I'm sitting. Gonna have to give you a bad camera. Sorry, but that's all I can do at this point. Guess I could have done not quite that bad. At least I warned you. Okay, now. Oh, wrong way. Okay, that should be somewhat aimed at me if I sit down, I think. Okay, get back to the other machine so I can, yeah, it really gets complicated when you start getting off on other machines and you can't control your OBS Studio. It'd be nice if I had a laptop that I could run OBS Studio on, then you could always see your control interface. But out of mine, this is the only machine I got that can handle it. Even that, I don't know, there's something wrong there. That 8-core with 8 gig of RAM, that should handle it no problem, but it actually starts acting up on the cameras. That's where it acts up. And when you leave it, like when I just leave it there, sometimes it'll do okay, and sometimes it will. Okay, now I'm gonna get back over here, and while it's hopefully still running that, you certainly can't tell it. It doesn't run any harder, make any more noise. I'll go ahead and you won't be able to tell. I've noticed that you have to be really close to the CPU. There's the back side of the 320mm fan. Yeah, millimeters, is that right? Actually, the hard drive's quit rattling now. It should still be running the test. That one's warm enough to kind of feel hot. That one's fine. That one's fine. Well, when this thing's closed up and running for hours, all these hard drives get hot. But they don't, like I said, it doesn't get hot. You know, if you check, like I said, if you, well, you gotta, I don't have any apps to see the temperature that I know of other than going into BIOS. But if you reboot and go into BIOS, you know, if it's not too hot in the house, then it'll be, well, I can't remember. I think it usually runs between, well, I guess 90 after, you know, when it's been on for a little while, and then maybe at the most 125 Fahrenheit. So, Google's your friend, convert it if you don't like Fahrenheit. We're Americans here. I see that comments constantly on everybody else's videos that I watch. You know, they just can't please anybody, and they try so hard. They try to give out, and like whatever it is they use, they have to go either try. Some of them are smart enough to convert it, remember it in their head, but they have trouble. But some of them will go look it up and stuff. I don't got time for that. Okay, so well, I got back over here, and really what I'm going to need to do is get this thing off the bench so that I can, well, I'm really pleased with how nice and quiet that is. Get it off the bench so that I can, I'm trying to remember where those brand new fans are. I just saw them, but I don't remember where I was at. Here we go. Here's those brand new fans. They're clear, and they're very much like that fan. That thing's running some kind of leery of, uh-oh, I don't think they're as big. Well, maybe they are. Damn it. I knew I'd do that. I got into the back fan, so don't do that, Dawn. Sorry, it scared the crap out of me. I stuck, I mean, the last thing I want to do is break a fan. I think that other CPU fan that has a broken blade, I kind of think I remember that I may have broke it blowing it out. I got it blowing really, really fast, and then, well, you know, moving around the air blower trying to get different angles and accidentally stuck the nozzle of the air blower right into the fan while it was going, and faster than it could even normally go. And I think that's what broke it. Actually, I don't think I knew it, because I remember finding it. I turned the machine on and it was making a horrible noise, and turned it back off and looked in there and saw that blade broke off and stuck between the CPU cooler and the rest of the fan blade. And I think I remember, kind of went, oh, I think I remember hitting that. But anyway, let's go. I'm sure that benchmark is probably finished by now. So, but yeah, there's a, let's see, what is there? Well, it wouldn't do, oh yeah, there's an Android app that you can control OBS Studio remotely, but only if you're streaming from a Windows machine. Go figure that. Android's based on Linux. Let's see, what do I need? Need to get back to pink machine. Okay, yeah. Do you want to open it in the browser? No. Okay. Now let's see if the thing can be shut down normally. I'm not going to switch cameras again. And I'm not interested in the reports right now. Was just trying to make it try to work. I don't want to open the browser again either. There might be something else I could have done, but well, if I play videos in VLC, that doesn't really work it too hard. Man, I'm burping and indigestion. I guess I should take something for indigestion. Okay, it'll shut down in a little bit, I think. So what I need is, yeah, I didn't change camera views. So what I need is an indigestion pill. And as soon as that thing quits spinning on me, I'm going to get over there on my workbench. Yeah, it's stopping now. There we go. Get over there on my workbench. And, but I really do need a indigestion pill. I guess my belly didn't like my blunt. I had I like Marie Callender's TV dinners, and I eat them every day for years and years now, 20 something years. But I had, oh, I'm still plugged up to everything. I had one that's chicken fried steak and potatoes and corn. And I like that one okay, but it's not my favorite. And evidently it's not my stomach's favorite either. Oh, that darn sticker. I had these stickers that, you know, labels. And that one, it doesn't stay good. It doesn't want to stay. I'm going to stick these cables up in here. There's a crack, you know, where the leaf kind of folds down on my, well, they're drop leaf. It's a drop leaf table. I don't need that to stay there. That was on my, said laptop. It was on my Ethernet cable, the one I always used on the laptop. Yeah, so the smaller gateway may keep that loud fan. Still got to have a better fan, one that's not so loud in it, because I can't use it like that. And not even if I was out in the garage, it would drive me nuts. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll be all right like that, I think. And one more check of the. Yeah, I'll pause that preview on that because it's gonna have that thing acting up pretty soon. Ow! Yeah, one thing that drives me nuts every day, all day, is this chair. The holes in the legs, you know, where the wheels, casters go in, they're so wore out. And I put all those cables there, and now my knees are bumping into them. They're so wore out that, and I'm going to have to get in closer than that, I think. So bear with me while I do that. It's probably too close. would be nice, but it's too close. Just see what we're doing here. Got to be where I can work and be where I can. Yeah, that's. Well, go back up a little more. This thing goes where it wants to mostly. Now you can see the whole fan, and it'll still be close enough to help me see what I'm doing, except that I have to look around over my left shoulder, but those cables are just in the way. Okay, you're gonna have to all lay in the floor and hope that you don't get, I was afraid they would all get off to where I couldn't, but here's what I guess I have to do. I guess, let's try this first. I've never seen one quite like this on a, oh okay, they just unscrew, but there's big old springs on them. I don't know why they have springs on them. Maybe that's so you won't over tighten them and break the board or something. I bet that's what it is. I don't, oh, you know what? It's probably not that. It's probably to try to keep that fan, keep the fan from rattling the entire card, you know. It's a real big, it's small screws, but big crosshatch in it. So, I'll show you what I was talking about there. See? Oh, it's got a hole in the middle too. You could do it with a Phillips or a slot head, but I like Phillips. If it takes Phillips, I like to use Phillips. They don't slip as much. Yep, came right off. Oh, and these little screws are made into the fan. I thought I was going to have to do that to get it apart, but I didn't actually need to get it apart. But that'll make it easier to work on, I think. It might make it harder. Let's see. Before I even unplug it, well, let's see. It unplugged pretty easy, probably. Well, I mean, relatively. I think I'll be needing, probably be needing a screwdriver to. Oh, maybe not. Maybe all I need to do is just get a hold of it good. There. Okay. But I may have to put it back on there. That has a heat sink, CPU paste. I wonder how dry it is. Let's see. That's the processor. Oh yeah. I know I didn't do that recently, but that looks just like that gray CPU paste that I bought recently that I've been using. No, I haven't had this apart ever. I've never had that off of there. I never thought about it. So that's another thing where you might need to replace your CPU paste. It's okay. It is pretty kind of dry, all the stuff that's been, the part that's on the processor. I never really got to look at one of those GPU processors. I don't want to wipe, I could see the number and all, I can tell there's numbers, but I don't want to wipe all that off. I want to use it. So I'm going to leave it alone. But that's been all, I kind of touched it a little bit, but it was like a whole big old stamped on section there, and it was really just mostly all squeezed out. and the stuff around the outside is pretty dry, so it's still pliable. I think I can just, I don't know, I may just put a little bit of brand new in the middle there. I'll rub around on it, and if it rubs back into the middle good, then I don't really need more, but it depends. We'll see. Okay, now the fan, yeah, those are kind of, those are pressed in, I think. The little screws. That's a heck of a lot of work for such a simple thing. Or maybe not. I don't know. But they're, yeah, gotta be careful. You could break those ears off. We're getting this apart. Oh, there we go. There's a snap right there. I thought I had seen something like that, and then, see, I just see so, I really don't see good anymore. And So it depends on the lighting and how I'm looking, I don't know how to say it right, but anyway, I think that would, I'm looking back over my shoulder to try to see if that is what's going to make it come apart. Yeah, I think so. There we go. There's 4 of them. So you're going to probably have to get at least 2 of them off at once. Get anywhere. This screwdriver's a little wide for that slot. This other one might work better. It's just, I was wanting to use it because it's the toughest one of these little screwdrivers. But that one fits right in there. I think that's what grabs, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Straight in, I think. I think it'll let go for, yeah, there we go. The whole thing, when you get one of them off good, then the whole thing lets go just nice and got dust in there. And I blew it out and blew it out and blew it out today. This was really dirty. The one that was even made this one look clean was the old Dell 400 megahertz. It was my old server for like years and years. I guess I had never taken it out. So I quit using it, and I meant to take it out and clean it anyway, so that if I did want to mess with it again, it'd be clean. And it actually realized I don't have a hard drive in it right now, and the hard drive cage was even missing the screws. It fell out while I was cleaning it out. I usually don't leave stuff loose like that. I guess I was in the middle of doing it and forgot or something. I think maybe that hard drive with the, I'm kind of thinking that hard drive with the rubber cover, which I got to thinking that rubber cover might have made it overheat and fail. It's really not good for cooling, I don't think, a rubber cover. Rubber rain jacket, but I'm just wiping the dust off of there so that it won't get all over me and my face and everything else. I'm telling you see dust, you want to blow it, and what happens when you blow dust? It blows right up in your face. So let's see what this says it is. If I can read it. DC brushless fan. NTK HK limited. Darn lighting. Okay, let's try. I bet I can read that if I can get off the double view and make that preview bigger. You might have already been able to read it, but I couldn't. There we go. Sleeve bearing, okay, that's what they call a bushing. Sleeve bearing. Sleeve bushing is what we used to call them when I was growing up. When I was a young man and being taught all this stuff, made in China. DC 12 volt, I was trying to see the amps. Okay, let's look at it with my magnifying glass. 0.1 amp. It says 0.10A. 12 volt, 0.10A. So that's not 10 amps, or that's 1/100th of an amp. Yeah. Normally, like when I learned to read decimals, it was in well, I was a tool maker. Well, I started learning. My very first job was in a machine shop, but when I really learned is when I was a tool maker in the 80s at General Dynamics, and we were making F-16s and keeping up the F-111s. Anyway, it would be 0.100, which would be 100 thousandths. That's how we were taught to think of it. And there's other ways you can say it, you know, and think of it, but that's how my mind goes. So anyway, 0.1. I saw 0.1, I'm like, 10 what? And then I realized, no, that's actually 100 thousandths or of an inch, or 0.1 of an amp. What does that mean? Well, 0.5 would be half an amp, so I guess it's 1/10 of an amp. Okay, so, and if that light wasn't reflecting on that, you could read that. but maybe. Okay, so I think I'll leave. Let's get this other fan, one of these fans out, and now let's go back to the other view until we need it again. Yeah, I don't think a phone would be a good way to switch either. A mouse is easier. It's just, you know, when you get off across the room or something. Well, if I'd have been thinking, I should have run this table over there in front of my monitor. When you're working on something, when I'm working on something little, I really do need that preview to help me see it. Because I actually, sometimes I can see better with the magnifying glass. Sometimes that just doesn't cut it, and that preview is big enough that the single preview of that camera is big enough to actually help me see sometimes. So that would go on there like that. Oh, I don't know about this. This thing is made into it. But that doesn't mean I can't screw. Well, yeah, it does. I was going to say, is that metal? It's awfully hard plastic. That's aluminum. That's aluminum. That's why it's part of the heat sinking. This is the heat sink. This is the heat sink. It's aluminum. Hear it? I think you should have like some actual heat sink there. And I have all kinds of heat sinks left over from other things. I wonder if I could, if I had one that would match up these screw holes and screw on there, then that's why there's a hole in that screw. It's not a screw, it's a nut. It goes on there. That's a machine thread on that shaft. I couldn't see it good enough. I just thought it was a funny looking. Kept thinking maybe I should give those a third look. But that's why, I don't know why they would spring still, but I saw that hole in it. There's a hole in the middle of them. Those are funky nuts. Okay. Well, more power to you. I mean, I've never seen something so fancily machined out. But that's not much of a heat sink. I guess that's all it needs. That right there and a fan. Of course, nowadays they a lot of times they try to get back away. You know, that's probably why, because these fans keep wearing out. Got to get back away from those fans and just put a big old heat sink on them. So, and these are a lot. Well, they may. I don't know. This one here may make as much or more heat than something that's more powerful, actually, because they have learned how to make processors that GPUs and CPUs. Well, I know CPUs, and so I'm figuring GPUs. They've learned how to make them not make as much heat as well. And I'll have to look in both of my boxes. I have my fan boxes both in here. What I'm thinking is, I mean, this has 3. See, it's made to screw down 3-way. So I could screw it to that. Oh, no, probably fall right off. I keep getting into that stuff. It's warming up now. It's starting to get gooey. I keep forgetting that it's there. That's why I was kind of thinking, well, I need it off if I'm going to do any custom work. Yeah, what I'm thinking here is I could just drill holes in here, and well, I can't just drill holes. I mean, it fits and it'll work. But if it'll plug into the board, let's see. They are both 2 pins. Oh yeah, that's what happened with the other one too. They work. They're just make sure you get the polarity right. You can actually just look, I guess. Should be able to go by the color code. So red on right, black on left. So they go like that. And they will plug in, I'm pretty sure. Let's look at that right now. That'd be one of the first things you'd want to know. Okay, so red towards me. but it's not as wide of a connector, but the pins, I think, match up. We'll find out here, I think. Ow. Even the keeper kind of matches up. Yeah, it goes on there. I think, let's see if I'm bending it or something. Yeah, they're not bent or anything. All right, so, yeah, see, this is all molded. This thing, so if you were to be able to find a fan replacement, this would be the fan, and it's a snap in, snap out, molded to this. There's no way, I mean, there's nothing to connect to try to connect it to this molded piece here. It would actually be like that, but there's nothing there, see, other than maybe those things. But they don't, well, I mean, even if you turn it, yeah, you can't, you might could, if you could cut this out or something and leave those arms sticking out, you might be able to zip tie it or something, you know, or glue it. If you had some really good airplane glue, I'd be afraid it would come loose. And they don't match up. You'd only get one to match up, because this is 3 and this is 4. So this is really not. And I tried taking the other last one. I think I tried taking the other one, Mom's, apart. It wasn't like this. It was different. I don't think I ever got it apart. I think I decided it would just tear it up to see if you could clean. But clean, once they get to the old age, the age of being worn enough, they're making lots of noise. Even if you get them to quieten down, it'll probably be for a month to a year at the max. But most I ever remember having a fan quieten down for was like a year. And then the next time, it not only got loud, but it got so weak it could barely spin itself anymore. So, you know, they just wear out. But this little dude, the one I put, just like this, you know, I got a pack of 3, and one of them is in Mom's. And I bought it as a replacement. I mean, I looked it up, and it was meant to replace that type of fan. But in this case, I've already got them, so I'm thinking, how can I make this work? Okay, yeah, the blades go up. So, and actually I could, there is a little space. And I really going to be getting into a lot of work, but I'm getting hungry like crazy, and I can't believe it because I swear I just had lunch. But I could drill 3 holes and bolt that in there. Just have to kind of make sure I get it centered first. I guess I could get my, yeah, I might want to scribe that out or something and figure out the center. Kind of, I mean, it really wouldn't matter that much as long as it don't hit when it spins, but anyway, I could drill holes in there, but you can't just drive a sheet metal screw in there because it's going to be hitting your circuit board. There's only, you know what, I don't have any way to measure it, something that small. Well, yes, I do, but I can't see it. Let's see what it looks like in the... So if we were able to see this, we would see that it is all around 40 to 50 thousandths. This is a, see tenths and hundredths. Oh, this is not thousandths, it's tenths and hundredths. But I know that the middle mark between 1, that is 50 thousandths, and 100 is 1, 100 thousandths is 1. That's the way we work. That's the way our blueprints were marked. I think it is 50 thousandths. Looking at the little preview. But the point being that there's hardly any, there's no nuts, even little tiny nuts and bolts, you know, screws, machine screws, nuts, none of them are going to be 50 thousandths thick. They're going to be like twice that. They're going to be around the thickness of that plastic there, which is, that's 100 thousandths or so. And that's about how thick they generally are. I mean, well, you know, I've probably got a couple. I might scrape up 3 really thin nuts. And of course the screws, if I have machine screws that'll go in them or whatever, I don't even know. I think they're kind of a coarse thread. I've just remembered, you know, I've got all kinds of little nuts and bolts in little containers out in the garage. So if I was to scrape up some, and they're just about right. They're probably quite a bit smaller than those holes, actually, the screws that go, machine screws that go with them. I think I have some to go with them. I remember seeing at least 2, but all I need is 3. I don't even need 4. But if they were the heads of those screws, now if they're countersink type, you could actually do that. You could, you know, countersink your hole after you drill it and get it not to even protrude. Well, it is the, let's see, the other thing I just realized, how are we going to clear that processor? No, we're not really going to, well, almost. We're not going to clear it with all 3 of them, are we? Because it's square. No matter which way you turn it, I don't want to lay it down because of the CPU paste. Can't really see it. But I don't think of course I guess you could get by with 2. Offset it a little bit. We can't offset it that much, I don't imagine. You can't, this has to go on there, you know. You can turn it one way or the other. There's 4 holes and only 2 mounting screws. But yeah, it looks like you could. This one would be on the corner of the processor, and actually that's like a circuit board, and the processor's in the middle there. But anyway, that little circuit board that's kind of around the processor, but that wouldn't be. It's going to have to be centered enough to, you know, it is enough smaller than that heatsink. Oh, so I'm going around and around. I already kind of saw this. I'm going over it in my head to make sure. Actually, I'm going over it in my head mostly to explain what was in my, trying to explain what was in my head. I'm trying to figure out now which way that went. That way. Was it on there? Was it on there crooked? It seems like it was on there. It wasn't on there crooked. It was on there like that, one way or the other. Thought. I really didn't stop and pay enough of attention. Got more stuff on my fingers. Well, it's warmed up enough. I guess it was cool. I don't know how it could possibly be cool, but me touching it's made it get gooey, so it's not ruined. The CPU paste, I mean. I can't get over that thing was not on there crooked like that. They don't even look like they line up. They don't. What is it I'm doing here that's not gelling? There are other holes that I can't, yes. I couldn't see the holes that it actually mounts in. That one and that one. So it actually could be mounted with another type of fan. Those, it's like they decided to do it different and just added some extra holes to this thing. I mean, this circuit board was designed for those 4. Look at that. It was designed for those 4. They have the little grommet, the copper grommets, I'll call them, for lack of a better right way to say it. But those things go like that. That's how that thing goes. I couldn't see those holes the way I was looking at it. I think it'll go either way. Yeah. And it's really kind of the same either way. I don't think it would matter. Let's see if it matters to the anything. Does it feel any different or anything? No, it doesn't. Okay, so the whole thing I was talking about is that space in there with it right up where it kind of course it's rocking right now, but with it where it belongs. Okay, that makes it have a little more space because the CPU adds a little, with it sitting down on the CPU, that adds a little more space. That actually would probably be enough room for one of those little nuts, but there are circuits, there are discrete components in there too. And you can't, I wouldn't know whether those things could be shorted out or not. I really wouldn't know. They look like they wouldn't, because they look like, you know, that's just the top of resistors or whatever. And, you know, the electrical connections are on the other side of the, that little piece of circuit board. I think it would lift off, but I don't want it off of there. Yeah, they really look, I watch a lot of videos about electronics, they look like they might be resistors, but there are other discrete components that small too, so there's a whole bunch of resistors all out here and there and everywhere. If it says R beside it, then that is a resistor. R, you know, whatever, this, that, and the other. But, okay, so, yeah, this is a VGA, DVI, and S-video. That's how old it is. But actually, I still get good use out of it because I still have old stuff. I mean, well, I don't use it much anymore, but I can get good use out of it. So, if I have that on there, and if I put this, the cable would go this way. Would actually go, well, you can't see where I'm going, but it'd go up there. I actually have plenty of play in there. And it's not like, you know, this is the only thing spinning, so it's not going to vibrate or anything if I don't have it centered. I just don't want it to where the blades will hit the heatsink, that's all. And really, that little shroud's not going to make, I didn't think that would make a whole lot of difference in it being gone. So I wouldn't really worry about that. Legs hurt and I'm tired. And I don't think I'm going to do this, finish it today. I'm wore out from this morning out in the heat. I was thinking, I had so much things that I thought I'd do today. Okay, so, but actually, what time is it? Yeah, it's 3:23 and I got up, what time? Well, it was 4 something when I woke up. And then by the time I actually went to the bathroom and came back in here and all that stuff, it was 5:30, I noticed. I was like, how did it get 5:30, you know? But anyway, I've been up long enough. Worked all day, so. Okay, so don't go to sleep. You're my preview. Oh, you're not playing. Okay. Well, that could be done. Okay, that could be done, I think, because there is enough room. The thing is, I would have to, this side really needs to, the fan is, how close are those blades to its connectors? Fairly close. It's such close, I mean, it's not like machine shop close, but it's close for having, okay, I gotta have a nut, Now, we can't use machine screws. That's out of the, I mean, sheet metal screws. That's really out of the question. I'm afraid they'd vibrate loose anyway. Well, it's not completely out of the question if they were short. Actually, I have some little bitty black, short sheet metal screws. If those heads would clear that fan, I could screw them down through here. They're not self-tapping. I'd have to drill holes. I could screw them down through here and then stick it on my belt. I'd have to clean that off after on, but I could use my belt sander or a grinder or whatever. Well, this is in the way to use my belt sander. I can't do that, but I'd have to grind it off, the screw heads, flush with this. But then if this vibrates for any at all, then they'd end up coming loose. So nuts and machine screws is why I was thinking nuts and machine screws. You really don't have room for a lock washer. You know what? I've never used Loctite really in my life, but I bought some and I have a brand new thing of it out there. That would work. Haven't used any. I bought it from a carburetor because there's some screws on a Holley carburetor that, well, mine are, I bought it back in like 1992, brand new. And so either they fell out into my intake manifold and I've got to find them and fish them out. They may have already hit a valve. I haven't got back to working on that again. That's actually why I bought this camera, so I could shove it down in the intake manifold. Or they left them out in the factory because they realized that was a problem. At some point they started leaving them out. But there's two missing screws in the bottom of that carburetor. They either weren't put in from the factory or they did fall out in my intake manifold. And I got the Loctite in case I wanted to put, in case I wanted to put any screws in any spot where I was worried about them coming out on that carburetor. So, ain't gonna be doing it in all this heat, that's for sure. It takes all I got to get out and work on the truck and everything nowadays, so I haven't been able to do it since last year. I haven't go back and finish that. But, anyway, okay, now, the other thing that I was thinking about, guess I'll put my little screwdriver down here so I don't lose it. My leg hurts. There just ain't much good way to get comfortable. These don't have to be up here on the bench, those screwdrivers. I only pulled them out so that I could get to that screwdriver. Let's check my audio on my stream and everything. I hadn't even looked up to see whether or not it was green. I was just looking at the preview. Oh yeah, I got to reload it. I see the preview and I think it's good, but it could be. Actually, I saw, for the first time in a long time, I saw the green line go yellow today when I was doing my bird stream, and that's because I was running the camera out on the porch and it wasn't plugged in. Once I plugged it in, it went green again instantly. So that's what you have to do with these things to keep them working, keep them plugged in. So I've got heat sinks that I've taken off of things, and there's my Franken fan that I put together. There's the parts, leftover parts, and it doesn't just keep spinning at all. I think I got to thinking maybe it actually, if I took one of those, see, this is the blades out of one fan and the case out of the other one, and I got to thinking it has O-rings, and see, this one had bearings, ball bearings, and of course that's the broken fan blade I've been talking about. But anyway, I got to thinking I might, and I forgot to put any lubricated or anything, but I got to thinking maybe it's not the Hall effect sensor's not working, you know, like not working on a different magnet. I don't know. I still don't know about that. I can't remember what I saw in all these videos. I can't remember enough details. But trying to figure out where to put stuff. I'm trying to get to my box, and I'm just, what am I doing now? Completely knock it out of whack. Ran into my camera 2 times. Which one did I run into? Oh, I see why everything looks funky, because I don't have anything under that. Okay. And you can read that label for a while. Okay, so, yeah, I didn't actually knock it off real bad, did I? There. It's really not in bad shape. Okay. Okay, that goes over there with that. Oh yeah, that I didn't have any screws in there. I just had it so I could help me take fans apart. Okay. Those are not heat sinks or anything. Oh, that's some more fan brackets. That might be something I would need to use if I wanted to use that that other one that I was showing, that one that's like a wind tunnel. Now I'm getting to something too big, but what I was talking about. I do have, those are fan screws, okay. I do have, okay, that's a big one, that's too big. Let's put that on there. Okay, this is too big too. This you could screw. You couldn't really use a tiny. Couldn't really use a tiny. That fit. I don't know how I'd make it stay, but get that fan out of there. You could put that heat sink back in its place and set this in there. And it's so big, oh, it doesn't touch. I wonder if you could, no, you couldn't put it on the back side. It probably would short something out. That's so big, I think it would work without a fan. If you could get it down and get it to seat on that and stay there, of course. I think it's would actually fit. Let me move my box out of the way. I'll think outside of the box. That's no problem. If it's not too hard to do, I'll do it. And if I could get my head out of the camera, I might actually be able to show and tell. Okay, so that's not as big a one as I mean, that's a bigger one than I was really thinking about, but thing is, but that thing would actually, this is, of course, they're not quite so oversized in these newer ones, but that actually looks like it would let it plug in okay. Oh, there's not that much space between cards in there, though. Yeah, there's not. There's another card. Well, I don't have to have that other card in there. The card next to it is that, of course, I don't like blocking, you know. But anyway. See, there's a big plastic cover, protective cover I've got on there. I guess I should take it off if I'm going to even think about it. Okay. Now let's see if it would actually fit. It's meant to go right down on a CPU, a regular CPU. Yeah, it won't go in there. So if I were to put it on here, I'd have to have a way to make it stay on there. Where's my camera view here? I don't want to touch it up to it and rub off what's on there completely. There we go. It's so close that you can't really make heads or tails of it. Maybe if I get up, go to this camera. Okay, now we're going to be able to get close enough without blurring. I think this rubber that's meant to go, of course I could peel that off, but it actually looks like it would make it more stable if it's big enough to be bigger than that little circuit board that's around the CPU. Okay, I'll put them on. I'll put them together. It's the only way I'm going to really have any idea. But I'm just kind of shocked that it actually looks like it could possibly work. It's setting crooked though, so I think it's not clearing that little circuit board. But that's would do it. I bet you anything that would do it without a fan even. And of course this had a fan that was screwed onto it in between the fins. It had the fan that's in my IBM right now. So I do have a fan. It's a 4-pin fan. You'd have to like plug it into, well, I could plug it into the, it's probably another case fan header or 4-pin. That board has 4 pins. So I could probably plug it, if I want to put that fan on it. The fan that actually, oh, the one that came off of it, no, it's not on there. The fan that came off of here is over there in the, and I'm going to take it out. It's over there in the, so I could even put a fan on it. And just to be safe, I might do that. Now, how would I tie it to it, though? I guess you could tie it to it with, it almost hits in between those gaps. That wouldn't let it plug in. See those little deals there? Well, you don't really need those. You probably just go straight across. You can't go across, of course, the connectors. See the, I keep letting myself go down lower and lower, don't I? You can't go across the connectors, and I don't think there's room to go between the connectors. There almost is. With zip ties. They'll hold. Something like this, they'll hold. These are springy, but that actually might be a good thing. You could go, there's big grooves in here, so you could go that way, but that would hit the connectors. And it won't fit. Yeah, I rubbed all over that CPU. But it won't fit that way. I'm sure it wouldn't plug in that way. Well, it might. And there's not actually any reason to want to go that way, I don't think. Or is there? Actually, it almost feels like it fits better like that. You could go, well, you'd still be, your zip ties would be hitting in a worse place, so. Yeah, I'm rubbing all kinds of stuff off. You just want to make sure that it's going to be down on there good. I'm just about half talked myself into this one. Because I can get, in that right there, I bet you there is enough room, if it'll still plug in. Let me lay it down again now. So maybe I can show what I'm thinking. So if there's enough room for a narrow zip tie to go through there and you still plug this in, which you see it goes up pretty far. It goes up pretty far past the connectors. Trying to get it where I can see it and the camera can see it. Just won't do it. Look. Okay, well, I'll move it. See, it goes up past the connectors quite a bit. That's enough for a regular white zip, the smaller thin zip ties to go through and hook it on those there. Up here there's nothing to worry about. So then on this end, it doesn't exactly line up. Whoops, depends on where you put it. And on that end, say if that end's lined up to there, and of course you don't have to, I mean those hooks might allow you to, I'm thinking my target was this one here. But it's not quite, well, it's deep enough. That's probably the one, because that would, if you go this way, it's going to want to pull it that way. This one down here. That one's a lot deeper. But the deals are in a different place, too. I mean, all I can see to do is try it. And I guess you could turn it on for a little while and look in the BIOS. Just go straight into BIOS and see if it looks like it's getting too hot. I think there's a temperature reading for the GPU in there. But really, to be safe, I'd probably just go ahead and put the fan on it. And I don't know. You'd probably have a much better connection to the CPU, more, stable connection GPU with this, and if I could got the right nuts and bolts, I mean machine screws and nuts. Now I've got that stuff all. I guess it's got some new heatsink paste on it now. Yeah, a lot of that, all that white's on there now. That's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it was so perfect and new, I didn't want to mess it up. And I could take that rubbery stuff off, but I actually like it because I think it keeps it, obviously it was touching pretty well. It keeps it centered, it'll make it center right over that processor. And I'm sure that's what it was for in its original design, whatever. It's for a, you know, a regular CPU of some sort. I don't even remember if I bought it for an AMD or an Intel, but it didn't end up fitting anything I had. And it's not as big as anything, you know, it's really thin. It would probably be a Pentium 3 class that it would work on. But I'm going to put the little cover back on there. That's how come it was so nice and pristine till just then. Because it had that. That's actually a possibility. Now the other one is an AMD 8300 cooler, and the other one is a. I think it was off of, oh yeah, it was off of Mom's dual core AMD. So those are way too big. Now I have some other old motherboards. Let me see what's in my other big box right quick before I go on. I have some other old motherboards that I've got another fan shroud and some miscellaneous parts in there. I got motherboards that I have already taken one heat. I took a GPU processor. Oh, there is the other half of it right there. It's stuck to something. Oh, another heatsink. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I've got one I already did some robbing off of. Oh, that's more the right size. Okay, I cut that one in half and put the other half on my Raspberry Pi off of. It's got sticky heatsink sticky tape on it. That's why it's stuck so good to that. But there's another heatsink, a nice big one, that would actually fit in there. Doesn't have any screw holes or anything. You could, I guess you could drill some. But that's the right size. That's the size, and touching that, my paste that I didn't want to touch. That's the size that really goes on there, you know. And let's see, no way you wouldn't zip tie it. I mean, if I was really going to try to use that, all I can really imagine is there's not enough. It's right on the corners. I don't think I could drill. What you really ought to do is drill and tap those corners. And but there's a ledge on there that would help keep it from rocking, but it also might short out on some of those components again, or these, depending on which way you turned it, you know. And every time I lay that down, I touch that. And of course, that would have been about big enough, almost big enough. It's a little smaller, but it's cut in half. It was I think it was for a GPU on an older machine that didn't need fans, you know, one that didn't make as much heat. But yeah, it was something that, oh, I think I remember what it was. It was an old, like 166 megahertz AMD. First AMD that I ever got. Jeff gave it to me, and he just didn't want it anymore. It was old, and I plugged it. I tried to run, back in those days, you had to have a special Linux, you know, Fedora, a special kernel to run on the AMD processors, and they wouldn't run on both AMD and Intel like they do now. I knew it, but I just forgot and stuck in my Fedora Whatever, tried to boot it, and it kept shutting down. So I thought, well, there's something wrong with that CPU, that power supply. It's old and not powerful enough. So I put a more powerful power supply in it. That's when it blew up this processor. Only processor I ever killed. And then instantly when I got the magic smoke out of a processor, first time and last time I ever did that, I realized what I had done. And I was so looking forward to having fun with that thing, because I was wanting to learn how to overclock. You know, you could overclock those. I overclocked it too much. I found it, I passed its limit. I overpowered it. Well, that's actually what you do when you overclock, is raise up the power. But I guess that other power supply, you know, it had a higher limit in it, and so it kept going until it fried it. The other one would shut down. It would get, like, sent something. I guess that's what it did. The wrong kernel would make it run too hard and fast or something. It would shut down instantly, though. But anyway, I can't get over how that's exactly the right dimensions. I mean, you could really, if you could get that on there and then just back drill it, you know, just mark your holes with a drill. It's got bushings on it. Just mark your holes and then drill them in, and then it's thick enough to tap that. And just whatever, if I had the right tap and the right, you know, screws, I know I've got screws that size now. Whether or not I have, that's close to a number 10. I do have a number 10 tap. So if I had a number 10 screws and machine screws and a number 10 tap, then I could actually do that. But that doesn't get me a way to mount the fan. Well, actually, you might be able to mount. You might be able to just mount that fan. I don't know how much good it would do out there in the wild blue yonder like that, but what's so big? It's big enough it probably doesn't need the fan. But if you could just run some sheet metal screws between, you know, between those fins, those though are divided up. See, they don't have a lot of space to run screws in there like these other ones do. But that's actually how some of these manufacturers mount their fans. They just run them. Of course, they're usually big, you know, like that. And I have a fan about that size, but it's wore out. I have a fan that would go on there. I don't know if you can see any marks. If it had, yeah, it did. It had fan in it. Right, they were mounted right there, each corner. I can see them. So a bigger fan would be perfect. You know, would be just right. But I know I'm just going around and around and around. But I do know that the bigger fan that I have two of them. Let's see which one's the right one. I'm pretty sure they're both wore out. See if I can get the heatsink paste off of there before I get it everywhere. Yeah, let's see. This one, I think I plugged it in recently. It's probably, I think this is the one that came off of it. See, it fits it perfect. And, well, one of these I hooked it up. I probably hooked them both up recently. I guess I could try them again, but I think they're about wore out. I think they just don't spin good anymore. But this one has had the connectors cut off for some reason. Oh, I think this is the one I had. Yeah, this is the one I had in my Raspberry Pi, I think. I used it for years and years. I just wore it out. I had it in different machines. Put it in my Raspberry Pi, but they're both the same size. See, they'll fit right on there. But that's what goes on there. And this has, see, it's made to be an add-on fan. It has big old Molex adapters on it. So they don't have, of course I have this old fan. I can just, this one works pretty good, just makes noise. With that other one that came out of Mom's, it's in pretty bad shape. I could cut the wires and just wire nut them together. That's all I'd have to do. And then those would work. I mean, if they're in any kind of shape to work. But I think I'm in worse shape getting this tied down than I would be getting that really big one tied down. And of course, the really big one has its own fan that's made to fit it. So, yeah, I don't really. Oh, trying to put screws, some tap screws, on the corners. That's right. That's a possibility, I think. it's definitely made for that. I mean, that's the kind of setup it was made for, and of course the heatsink would have that would go with it. You could I actually have some ground lift washers. That's what I used them for. They're really rack ear washers, plastic rack ear washers for audio racks. I have a bunch of them, and they would be perfect to be ground lifts to make, to standoffs, to make sure this doesn't, well, it can't stand off too far. You want it to touch that good and solid, but you don't. I don't want these ears, these extrusions here to. I really would be worried about them touching those components. I don't know if they, it's so tiny, I don't know what might be carrying current and what might not. Or if in time they can vibrate and rub through those traces. There's a bunch of traces in there. They're all covered, they're masked. But well, yeah, there are components there too. Resistors. All that row of resistors there. They're so small I don't think I can get them to show up. Yeah, I can see when I get like that with my close-up magnifying glass, R47, R54, so on. Every one of them's a resistor. Yeah, but I really wouldn't want any of that being touched. Oh, I think that's not. Yeah, that's copper. I think. I started to say that might be a different colored masking, but I think it's copper. But that was actually, I think, originally designed for a 4, screwed fan to hold down just like that, and then for some reason they changed it to that other funky fan with just 2. So, I actually have options. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways I can do it. I want to, these fans, I think are both wore out because I think I had them out recently. I think I looked at them when Mom's CPU fan went out and seeing if I could use them on there. The same thing, like, well, can I do this and all that. And I think the other thing is, though, I know if I had that out, I know there's not enough space to mount pretty much anything else in the other PCI slot next to it, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not ideal either. So really the best thing would be to put this in here like it goes. And yeah, and then put that in here like that, and if I can get one of these, if I can find nuts and bolts tomorrow in the morning when it's not so hot outside, I'm not going out there with it 106. It is 100. It says 106 on the Dell, and there's supposedly, I thought they were getting their temperature from the same airport. 108. It's 108 in Fort Worth. Says on the Dell it says 106, and over here it says 108. But that right there, I think all I need is 3 machine screws with little thin nuts. I know I have some little thin nuts that be about. They're probably even. It doesn't matter if the machine screw is half the size of that hole in that plastic. It's just a plastic fan. It doesn't need a head bolt to hold it down. But I think that's the way to go. But I think I'm just tired and I don't know why I'm so hungry. I know why I'm tired, but I don't know why I'm so hungry. It seems like already. Maybe it's been way longer since I ate lunch. Well, yeah, it's 4 o'clock. I ate lunch somewhere between 10:30 and noon. I don't even know now. I guess I ate lunch around 10:30 in the morning. That's why I'm hungry. I'm hungry because it's been hours. Okay, so hours and hours. I'm slow to start and then slow to quit. I get involved and I just go, and I just keep going and going. Okay, so, but I'm all excited about this temperature. This might be a record for today. I don't know. Well, this is July, so probably not a record. We've had years where it was 110 every day for a week at a time, you know, 110, 111 years past, which is deadly, man. I mean, literally. Let's see. There we go. Weather, 108. Let's see. I'm going to flip my temperature gauge because there's no sun shining on that wall now. It's late enough in the afternoon. I'm going to see what my little temperature gauge says it is right here. And in Azle, not Fort Worth. Fort Worth is usually 2 to 3 degrees hotter than Azle because there's so much pavement up there at the airport. The one that I have it set to is, am I on the desktop like I think? Yeah. The one I have it set to, let's see what I have it set to. Whoops. Guess I have to go to edit to tell. Fort Worth, Chicago, edit that. Fort Worth Naval Air Station. So that's what used to be Carswell Air Force Base over in Fort Worth, which is actually in River Oaks. That's where I was born, in River Oaks, Texas. It's a suburb of Fort Worth. But, well, I was actually born in downtown Fort Worth at the Harris Hospital, but that's where we lived, is in River Oaks. That's where my parents grew up and fell in love and got married, and then I came along. And so, let's see. But sadly, my dad died when I was 4, so. Then we stayed there in River Oaks until I was in 1st grade, and then we moved, and then we moved to another area, and then we moved. And when I was in 4th grade, we moved here to Azle. So Mom's lived in this house since I was in the 4th grade, and I left for a long time. When I was 18, I left. You know, I got married and raised kids, and then I came back later after my health got bad, and after I was divorced. But let's see, why am I telling life stories? I guess because I was thinking of history. 108. Man. And I'm so glad our air conditioner's working good. It's 109 on my wall out there. 109 even. Looks like it says 190. 109 on my little indoor-outdoor thermometer. So, and it's not even the heat of the day yet. Actually, the heat of the day comes between about 5 and 8 p.m. the last few days. I was trying to think. Of course, oh, I know. I don't have that set up yet. My little home page that I usually use, I don't even have that set up here. What is it called? I don't know if I've even been to it. I think it's ustart.org. Let's see. It has the weather and stuff. I don't think I can even log. I don't think I've ever put the password in here. No, I haven't. Well, I don't want to fool with that right now. Anyway, that would have like the weather pages I like and stuff on there. I used to use that weather.com, but they got so pushy with their advertisements I used to like to watch their little short videos, but they started using clickbait videos, and they weren't even any remotely close to what it said they were. And I just got tired of the whole thing. I just don't go there anymore. But especially because they were blocking features or something. I don't remember what it was. And popping junk up driving me crazy every time I just try to go see what the weather was. Because using ad blockers. Well, ad blockers are kind of your one of your few defenses on the internet from malware now. A lot of people, I guess, don't realize how much your malware comes through ads. It's because there's no the person running the website has no real control over when they have that third-party ad set up. They have no control about what's coming onto their website from those ads. They call it malvertising. They've had it talked about it for years and years now. And it might even be a as you know, as tracking ad companies go, tracking every move you do on the internet, it might be a reputable one of those, but then they get attacked all the time because it's such a great way to squeeze, you know, secretly get into people's computers and plant malware, and keyloggers, and remote desktop software and everything else, so that they can watch and see your passwords and steal your money. So all these people keep trying to push on these websites. You need to really wake up and quit pushing that. You need to find a better way to do your advertising, something that's safe. Okay, and not annoying. That's actually what started me with ad blockers, was the annoying blinking crap in my face. I can't handle it. Just cannot look at a page like that. Or where it starts playing loud sounds and videos and stuff, you know, and you don't even know where it is on the page. So anyway, yeah, that's a sidetrack. Yeah, I got my camera up kind of high. I thought, well, I saw that when I set it, you know, oh, well, I might be standing up anyway. But, oh, I've moved it 100 times today, though, haven't I? So it's not so bad considering how many times I've moved that camera. So my that's what I think I'll plan on trying to do. I keep, man, every day it's just, every day I get a little bit done, and then there's I find 2 more days worth of, or 3 more days worth of stuff to do. So my IBM, I still have the hard drive. See, I thought I'd be messing with that by now. I thought I'd just kind of swap that fan out. I thought I'd swap that fan out and then and then put a fan on the Smiley Gateway within an hour or 2 at the most, and then I'd be over here messing with the IBM and figuring out what to do about whether I want to change hard drives or what, or change fans again, or what I need to do. I still can't decide if that fan's really making noise or if it's just the hard drives. I have 2 hard drives in it now. And I'm over talking about showing. I can't show. Well, I can if I grab that camera, but I have 2 hard drives in the IBM, and it's not real. Now that I let it run all day and all night and all the next day yesterday until I got the virus scanning done. Now I haven't backed up those files yet. I need to back up all those files, and then I can disconnect the 80 gig hard drive. I went ahead and turned on my backup server in the garage. It's out there running, but I never did connect to it yet because I never got that far. Now I guess I'll just go turn it off. It doesn't. The hottest day of the year, and I've got that thing running out there. I didn't know it was going to get that hot today. I figured it'd be about 104. And that other week when I ran it for a week, it was 104 and I think 105 one day, and it did okay with the fan on it. I have the fan on it and have it running. And the router too. I mean, it's the router's actually the thing I'm worried that it's going to die out there in that heat running. But anyway, yeah, I was going to do that, get it online, and take this one offline, the IBM, and then unplug the 80 gig hard drive and see if the 30 gig one makes noise or not, and see if it changes. You know, if it quits making any noise. If it did, then I would say, okay, I'll use the 30 gig hard drive. And I still have 1 more hard drive I could use, but I didn't really, it's a 250 gig, and I really didn't want to put that in the server. Like I was saying, I don't want to waste space, but yet if there's going to be that much space in there, I'm going to use it. But I don't really want stuff that I don't want anything real personal on my server, because in case somebody does get in it. So it ends up kind of being space that you might not really be happy with using. Like for the longest time, that 80 gig just had all kinds of space. I didn't have anything on it, and then finally I thought, oh, well, I could back up I need a place to back up my blog, and it's like 10 or 15 gigs worth of stuff. I used to post to it every other day for years and years, so it's really a lot of data. And I used the blog like a blog originally was intended, a log of things you've been learning and looking up and all that. I thought, well, might as well just share it with everybody, And it really, well, it does help me still to this day, but it's hard. The search doesn't work real good on that blog, and even though I'm using a custom Google search, it's still hard to find what I'm looking for. Sometimes I once in a while I'll be just searching on Google and I'll find my own blog, but it doesn't rate that high for some reason to come up at the top. But anyway, okay. Well, I think that right there is probably the thing to do. I think maybe at first I was pretty, you know, like I don't know if you can get any nuts or anything under there. But the one thing I could do is put if I have a countersink screws that'll fit the little nuts I have, tapered heads, you know, then I'm trying to put my finger up in there, but it's not going up in there. I can't reach it. So, see, you can see that one right there, that one screw under there. I can countersink the back side of this heat sink thing, this funky heat sink, so that it doesn't have to be absolutely flush, but even if it's, you know, just not hardly sticking out much. And then I've got enough room for a nut on top of there, probably not a nut and a lock washer, to not hit and still not hit the blades. And then of course I know that my little screws are going to be too long, but I can cut them off once I kind of get it all figured out, you know, how long they need to be and everything. And that would do it. And it really doesn't matter that it's, I'll mark it off. It doesn't have to be machine, you know, tolerance, machine shop tolerance. It can just kind of mark it off. I'll get my calipers out and figure out, you know, how, kind of try to get the distance pretty even. Really all that actually matters is that it, you know, not going to hit anything. And then this will plug right in to the header on the for the power. Yeah, because the other way with those big heat sinks would take up so much more room that you couldn't plug in another PCI card. And I do think that's a pretty crappy heat sink, but it never overheated before with the other fans, so. And these fans blow really well. They move some air, so I don't think that having it open like that would really cause any trouble. All you need to do is just, I mean, if you can just rapidly cool those few fins that they designed, the engineers designed, and it did work. So, I mean, sometimes engineers do things to the cheapest, the least space, you know, and the cheapest they can do, and they actually design things that are so close to the edge of working that they end up not working. But they do amazing things, you know. They can. That's the thing. They quit nowadays, you know. Around the time right after I got grown, they quit trying to make things better. I grew up with everything being made, trying to make well, almost everything made well, and trying to make things better and better. Then they started trying to make everything not only cheap as they could, they actually. You've always heard of planned obsolescence. Actually, my grandfather, my mother's dad, he taught me about planned obsolescence, and he gave me all kinds of examples of, you know, manufacturers doing that down through his lifetime. And we're talking about my mother's dad, and so, you know, he was born in, I don't remember, my other grandpa was born in 1898, and he was about 10 years younger than him, I think, something like that, 15 years. But anyway, planned obsolescence is the standard now. You know, they try to make things, I mean, everybody loves to talk about how, you know, things break down literally the day after the warranty went out. And I'm sure that's just a bit of dumb luck. They're on their, you know, their luck, their good luck, because if it breaks, it used to people, they wanted things to last and make the customer happy so that you'd come back and buy more, even if it was years down the road, and generation after generation. But now, with the consumer mentality and the consumer lifestyle that everyone has lived for all these years all around the world, everything, people, I remember when I was young, when this thing started really rolling up and balling up and rolling down the hill like a boulder, people were getting into that. Times were good, people had good jobs and made good money. Like, well, I don't want stuff to last too long. I want to buy a new one, you know. They thought it was ridiculous that I wanted stuff to last, you know. Well, now, if you're my age and you can look back and see how bad it's gotten, everybody complains about how things, not only do they break before, you know, like right after the warranty goes out, but half of the time you order a brand new fan and you get it and it's broken, not working right, brand new. That's the biggest problem with ordering stuff now, or going to the store and getting it, or however you do it. Biggest problem that torques me to death is that you can't even buy a brand new thing and expect it to be brand new and working, you know. So I guess I'm tired now because now I'm just ranting and raving. But of course, this, I'm not really griping so much about. This is a pretty old fan that went out here. I mean, well, I've got these old, back to all that, I've got old computers that were Pentium 3s, 486s and all that. Their fans still work. They didn't quit. So, I mean, really, you can gripe about it. I mean, I've started to get conditioned. Well, this is 5 years old or whatever, so I guess that's okay. Probably more than 5 years old, 8 or 10 years old, this fan that I'm trying to repair. I can't remember exactly when I got that machine, and this, I built, it's my very first machine I ever built, Pentium 4, and it was a Tiger Direct kit, first time I bought from Tiger Direct, and that video card I bought, I never did show what it was. Let's see if I can see what it is. I bought that video card, you know, kind of separately. It wasn't part of the kit. I wanted a good video card because the, well, I don't know, that motherboard, oh, that motherboard, yeah, let's see. No, this is not the one that's not the one out of the Pentium 4. This is the one that was in the BioStar setup. So I bought this separately to add to that. I don't want to, again, I don't want to wipe the CPU paste off, so I'm not going to just see the chip, but that's not what I was really, I wanted to just know the brand name and the, I mean, it's an NVIDIA, there we go. Is that upside down? Yes. There we go. Here's the part that would tell you what it is. That's an HD 455X. 512 megabyte DDR2. Memory on it. And yeah, HD 5550 on the second line there. That light. There we go. So, it might not be an NVIDIA, it might be an AMD. You know what, this may be the one that's an AMD. One of them's an AMD, and it's really a pain to get PCIe, so it's a newer PCI. Yeah, so this is not the one out of the Pentium 4, forget all that. I was all mixed up. This is the one I bought for this BioStar that has, it does have the onboard video memory, which is, I don't know, 128 or 256 or something on board, but I bought this 512, and at that time you could get 1 gigs, but they were really expensive, and this was like, I generally didn't ever spend more like $35 on a video card, so it was somewhere in that range, I'm sure. Doesn't say the brand on it, and it doesn't say AMD or NVIDIA, so I'm not sure. If I looked up that number there, then I would know. And I didn't. One reason why I don't know for sure what it is because this was by this time I had kind of quit worrying about you running proprietary video drivers. I just let the. I wasn't really. I had just. The only reason I ever really did that is because there was. I'm seeing if there's more stuff on there. More names. The only reason I really did that is because there was a flight simulator that I like to play, but I got to where I didn't do that anymore. And so I didn't need any 3D. Didn't even matter if 3D worked or not. Now it does work on the open source drivers, but back then I didn't have 3D. I had 2D maybe, but not 3D. Out of the Novu Linux drivers. But I'm just going to set that on there. I think I'll set the fan back in there like I had it. And leave it like that till tomorrow. Okay, so, yeah, I'm going to get this junk picked up and get myself to where I can get some supper and get a bath. I like getting up in the morning. It doesn't have to be 4 or 5 in the morning, but I do like getting up in the morning. So if I'll quit and get in bed, then I'll be able to get up. I do have, I think my fingers are dirty again. Okay, so yeah, I spend more time talking this evening. Once I get too tired, I just can't even think to do it. But it is too hot. I am not going out there searching for screws in that garage and that heat. It was bad enough when it was 82 when I first went out there, and 95 when I came in. It pretty much wore me out because I'm not used to the heat. I've been sitting in here and with the air conditioner running at night, sometimes it gets down to 72, but I don't care. I like it. And it'll get like 72, 74. Right now it's 77.5 in this room with, actually I only have two machines running, the server and the Lenovo Wi-Fi. Oh, and the laptop. That's wonderful. That's just fantastic, especially when it's 108 outside. Actually, it was 109 outside my window there just a minute ago. I'll turn that back on again and see. All right, so there we go. Well, if you ever wondered about all of the foolish and crazy things you might be able to do with computer parts, there's some ideas. Maybe you can try them out and tell me if they work or not. You could probably get it done between now and tomorrow, and then you could just tell me when you see me start my live stream again. Just type in there on that chat and tell me how to do it and make it work right. Yeah, like anybody's gonna even. Well, you never know. Maybe one day somebody will actually watch 1 or 2 of these videos. I usually get somewhere between 1 to 12 views in each one of these videos. So I don't care. I enjoy doing it, and actually helps me out a lot. I can go back and review my work and see where was I and see. Lots of times I'll catch my mistakes and fix them and stuff. Because I always go back through them and to review them. I don't watch the whole thing, but I skip through it, and sometimes I do spend a little bit too much time watching them. When I'm tired, especially, I'll just sit there and stare at it and watch, just let it play. Forget to skip ahead. But sometimes I like different milestones in the video. I like to put the time in the description so that if someone happens to read the description, they'll see, okay, that's where it actually happens. You know, like here I am struggling to figure it out for an hour, and then I finally do it at this time. Or if I go back and look at it, it helps me find it. So anyway, I'm going to go. I am really rambling, but I guess you can't get nothing done if you don't keep at it. You just got to keep going every day, every day. All right. I just can't believe how long each thing takes. That's so different than what I thought I was going to do. I did not think it was this GPU fan. I'm kind of was pleased when I saw that, hey, that's a GPU fan, and I got 2 more brand new ones, you know. But it sure is going to take a lot more than the other one. The other one was hard to get on there because it didn't fit real well. I never got those screws lined up and got it on there. But anyway, I think that is, unless I go, maybe by tomorrow when I wake up, I might say, no, I want those big old one of those bigger heat sinks on there. But probably not. We'll see. All right. This is Don, and tomorrow, now that I've got all this all apart and all over the room, I've got 2 computers over there where I can't get to my closet hardly. I'm going to have to finish that. So, and at least the IBM it's funny, it seems to make less noise with 2 hard drives than with 1. So I got to thinking, okay, maybe that fan is speeding up to the point to where it's not making that. Because I noticed when I had it open, when it was going to the point you could see the blades, it was going so slow. It was making some noise. It was kind of, I think it was electrical noise, you know, that the fan was making going that slow. You know, if you're, like, you know, when a fan motor or electric motor is starting up, it'll make a humming noise. That's kind of what I was thinking I was hearing. And this one, actually, even though it's a 4-pin on a 3-pin header on the motherboard, It actually does speed control. I've seen it over and over. It works. So some of those, it depends on how they're made. I guess the motors themselves are made, whether or not they'll do that. I did read that in one little spot on all the research I did. So I'm going to go, and I guess I'll wait till tomorrow to try to get that all back together. All right, bye.